Hey, this is Mrs. Reichelt, and we're moving into reflexes. So, a reflex arc is the direct pathway from a sensory neuron. So, remember, this is going to be an afferent pathway. So, an afferent pathway or an afferent neuron or sensory neuron to an interneuron. Remember, these were the ones that connect the two. So, these connect sensory and motor together to an effector, and our effector was our efferent pathway. So there are five major elements for a reflex arc to occur. So we're going to have the stimulus first, okay? The stimulus is going to activate whatever the receptor is, so whatever picks up on the stimulus. From there, they're going to send a message along an afferent pathway or via a sensory neuron. Integration is going to occur, and remember, integration is where they process the information. Then they're going to determine, your brain or spinal cord is going to determine the appropriate response, and then send that along an efferent or a motor output, which goes to the effector organ or the organ that's going to move, and ultimately that is our reflex arc. So here's a diagram of what that looks like. So if a pin were to, if you had a pin that pricked your skin, okay, the first thing that happens is the receptor. So that means that your cutaneous receptors pick up on, all of a sudden, now there's a pin in your skin, okay? Then what happens is the blue one is our sensory neuron or our afferent pathway. Okay, then from there we have our interpretation or integration. So we have interpretation, then it goes along a motor neuron, which is really our efferent pathway, to our effector organ, or the one that's going to move. Usually this is going to be a muscle or a gland or something like that. So that's our reflex arc. And our definition of a reflex is that it's a rapid, predictable, and involuntary response to a stimulus. And reflexes occur as reflex arcs. Now there's a couple of different types of reflexes that we're going to go through, and here are the different forms. So first of all, we have somatic. Somatic means that it's you're going to be moving skeletal muscles. Autonomic means that they're going to happen automatically. And then there's the patellar reflex. Okay, so somatic is where you activate skeletal muscles. And an example of this would be if you touched your hand on a burner or on a hot stove, you're going to immediately move your skeletal muscle or move away from the hot stove. That's somatic. Autonomic is the regulation of body functions. So this is going to happen automatically. You don't even know what's going on. So this would be things that are happening in the viscera. Okay, those kinds of things. So smooth muscle, regulation of the heart, regulation of blood pressure, digestive system regulation, all of those are happening automatically, but they're still responses or reflexes in response to some sort of stimulus that's coming from the inside of your body. Then the last one is the patellar reflex. Sometimes we call this the knee jerk, or we call this the two neuron reflex, and it's the simplest in humans. And I imagine that all of you have had a sports physical, and when you went to your sports physical, it's likely that they did the patellar reflex, or if you just go and get well checks, you'll probably get those patellar reflexes as well.